Hey, it's Michael Moon here, February 23rd, 2024. And we're heading towards a full moon, Virgo Pisces. And I wanted to do a little astrological update for you. In particular, talk about this week, because a lot of clients and friends have been reaching out, going through various versions of healing crises. It's been very intense for a lot of people, including myself. And there's a very kind of hidden but epic aspect happening this week with Chiron conjunct the North Node in Aries. And I want to speak to that a little bit because I was born with it. So I know this thing intimately. And I've chosen this spot to share because this is a spot in the forest behind my house where I used to have an altar. And last year, some punks of some sort came and made a fire inside this hole in the tree that used to be a tiny little hole where I had an altar, and burnt it out. And it was pretty devastating to me at the time. This big old tree has lasted this past year beautifully. And I think is a very apt image for where we're at. And so I honor her and the earth and you at this time and share these insights. So if you've been feeling a lot of intensity in it, in particular, it seems to be affecting what we call the light workers, people that are on a spiritual path, people that are on a healing path, because that is what this energy is all about. Chiron represents our wounds and how we need to heal them, and how those wounds become our teachers, and how, as they teach us, we can teach others. And in Aries, this is about boundaries. It's about our power, our self-worth. And a big part of this, because the generational, at least the generational aspect, I was born under, and a lot of us are kind of middle-aged light workers were born with this Chiron opposite Uranus. And this aspect often, especially if it's connected to personal planets, connects to what you might call witch-burning karma. So being persecuted in the past for sticking your neck out, for being individual, unique, and pioneers. So Chiron in Aries has this energy to it of the wounding of being a pioneer, of sticking your neck out, of being ahead of your time. And so there's just a lot of issues up this week for people around healing. And I particularly feel it's been about our self-worth, our boundaries, being able to say who we are, who we aren't, what we stand for, what we don't, and not getting caught up in our patterns of feeling powerless. Chiron in Aries wants us to feel our power despite feeling powerless. And to do it, we have to sit in the fire, Aries, of our wounds. Whatever those might be, especially in Aries, it's going to be unique to each person what those wounds are. And when I say wounds, these are going to be childhood things that happened. They might even not be big things, but they impacted us in a big way. They're connected to our self-worth. And so to sit in that fire, to feel the fear and do it anyway. But in this case, you feel the fear. not just do it anyway. You have to do both. So all week this has been very strong. It continues, but we're in the tail end of the exact, but I just wanted to touch upon it because it's very meaningful to a lot of us. And me personally, I've gone through my own journey with this. And I also want to touch upon the full moon coming up. The full moon in Pisces is going to be beautiful. Well, the sun's in Pisces. So it's the full moon of Pisces. So the moon's in Virgo. They're always opposite. And so it's not like one or the other. It's both. That's the whole point of a full moon. Everything in astrology is these polarities, and the full moons really heighten the connection of those polarities. So Virgo and Pisces, what is that polarity? Pisces, the cosmic oneness. Virgo, discernment and making it clear and embodied earth. So it's like connecting. It's like a funnel coming down from this vast, beautiful oneness energy and making it precise. And this is very heightened with Saturn being in Pisces right now on the full moon. And this is a general theme because we have Neptune in Pisces for the last 15 years, 14 years, and Saturn for the last year, and continues for the next year and a half. So Saturn and Neptune also, it's like the concentration of it's like embodying something that is seemingly impossible to embody, the spiritual energy, the dream. Basically creating the dream, manifesting the dream, though the dream will never be fully the dream. And I just want to share, there's a little friend coming my way. Hello, my friend. That was a cosmic break from Mother Nature. Saying, I love you. So I ended up, 3 deer came by, and I just sat with them for a bit until they moved on. Didn't want to disturb them by videoing, so I'm back and share more with this full moon. So the idea of manifesting the dream. And how difficult that is. Because you have to distill it down to what's really important, and it's never going to match. This can create a lot of discomfort. And the discomfort between the broad magic of life, and anything is possible, to the specifics of what is necessary and what can be achieved. So that kind of, to paraphrase a statement, to surrender what I can't control and to do something about what I can. It's this energy. And Saturn's going to really make this real, so it's a powerful time to manifest one's dream, and at the same, or at least to do some steps towards it, because that's a. But in general, with Saturn, Neptune, Pisces, that's one of the positive abilities for this. But there can also be, if you're too attached to the dream and having difficulty manifesting it, can feel very depressing because it just never matches. And you just have to go through that. As any artist knows, your art never matches what your vision is. And it's very easy to just throw it all out. But you have to just keep going. And the magic of Virgo is not that you ever get it perfect, but that you share it in service. So it's not about your ego getting exactly this magnificent Piscean dream that's going to change the whole world, but that it might just change one life by sharing it with one person. Virgo is about service ultimately, and that is the healing of this dilemma. When we share our imperfect vision, our heart from who we are, as broken and imperfect as we are, we can fulfill the dream, because the actual effect that sharing has can have the expression of the dream. So let's say, so when you share it, you can get feedback going, wow, that was just so this, that, and the other. And you're like, oh, this, that, and the other, that's what I wanted it to be, but I thought it wasn't that. But it is. The energy's there, even though it doesn't seem like you ever achieved it. When you share it, you realize you have. And it might just be with one person. But that's maybe all that's necessary. Sharing our imperfectness and distilling down what's really important in service. And this is this full moon, but it's also very key to this Chiron North Node journey. And very important that they're happening at the same time. I think that's why it's such a pressure-filled gateway right now. I mean, truly for me, it feels like this, like I'm sitting in that fire, burning this core wound, and it's just sitting there festering right at the core of this wonderful, powerful, beautiful dream. And yet the roots are wounded. And it's okay. And it's okay. Just breathe. Feel the pain, feel the fear, let it move through, and don't let it feel like it means like it's not working, that things aren't happening, that somehow you're failing. It's the very weakness and woundedness that makes us humble and real, and makes our offerings and sharings more impactful. This is Chiron. In the mythology, Chiron was the teacher of the heroes, like Hercules. And then he gets wounded by one of Hercules' poisoned arrows, and it should kill any mortal, but he's not mortal. He's a god. But because he can't die, but he can't heal the wound, he's in forever pain, which takes him from being a teacher to learning about healing, and then being a healer and teaching healing. And this whole transformation keeps going until finally he lays down his life in service by replacing Prometheus, who is being forever punished for stealing fire from the gods and elevating humanity. And in service, he lays down his life, heals his wound, and becomes immortal, or he's given his place in the stars. But it's that idea of service again. Our wound becomes our greatest gift, and in serving through it, in surrendering to that wound and that pain, something magical can happen and we can really have impact. And in Aries, like it is now, it's all about our self-worth, our power, boundaries. And I leave that with you. Many blessings for this full moon, and I will see you soon. Michael Moon here, the Temple of Sound.